What's good, my lovely peoples? It's your main man Solace here, the humble wise one. Today I want to do this video discussing blood over intent. I basically want to break down what it truly is. Now I'm going to use the emerald tablets of Thoth in the parts where they speak of the kingdom of shadows and the children of shadows that dwell there. So I'm going to use the emerald tablets to basically break down what blood over intent truly is. Now, the reason I'm using the emerald tablets to break this down is because people tend to need references. So, the knowledge I have on this has nothing to do with the emerald tablets, but the emerald tablets, as well as many other religious beliefs, religions, ancient texts, many things speak on blood over intent. So this is why I'm using the emerald tablets. I just picked one out of the many. So I'm going to use the emerald tablets to break down what blood over intent truly is. Now, the first thing I want y'all to understand is that blood over intent is not a phrase that is used in any ancient text. So this is something that someone made up in today's times, recently. This is not something of old. So the actual phrase blood over intent, this is not no deep ancient knowledge. The person who brought this forth, I don't believe they have any deep ancient knowledge. I don't know who brought this forth, but it's just a phrase they made up. And the knowledge that they put into it pretty much derives from the ancient knowledge of old. And it's written in many ancient texts. Blood over intent. Now, blood over intent. Let me basically break down what people of today times, from what I can gather, what they believe this to be. They believe that if you want a thing, you can bring it forth through blood. So if I want a thing, I can, let's say, write it down and then put my blood on the paper as a contract. Or many people can gather together and shed blood in wanting for something. So this is something that you do to manifest something into our reality that you want. So this is what blood over intent is. I'm sorry I just dug in my nose, but it's itching. Now, this is what blood over intent is. It is basically voodoo, what we would call ancient voodoo. So it's a dangerous thing that a lot of people of today times reach for knowledge and they truly don't understand what it is. Now, I see in some videos it's attached to flat earth and satanic worship and all these different things. Now, I don't know how that happened. But the true bare truth of the knowledge is basically written in all ancient texts, and the blood over intent and all this flat earth stuff truly has nothing to do with it. It's a deep thing y'all have to grasp. But blood over intent in today times, how it was brought forth to the world, is basically teaching y'all a voodoo practice of old. You have many different voodoo practices. You have many different voodoo gods. And they all require certain sacrifice. So you have like a Yida. She likes the blood of white chickens. So it's basically things like that. So all ancient voodoo gods desire some type of sacrifice or some type of offering. And whatever you're offering has blood within it, usually. Sometimes it's strong drink like alcohol, rum, with the chicken. But you know, different things the voodoo gods desire, the blood of different things. Now, it's a deep thing y'all have to grasp because this is what blood over intent is being taught today. You know, you write a thing on a piece of paper, you put your blood print on it, or many people gather together and they shed their blood and many different ways. It's no one particular way. It can be on a piece of paper, shed it on the ground, speaking the words forth of whatever you want to manifest. But whatever the case may be, it is basically ancient voodoo. Or it is voodoo that is being taught and presented as blood over intent. Now, let me break down to y'all what blood over intent truly is through the emerald tablets, because it has nothing to do with voodoo or any of the things that's being presented today. It truly has to do with knowledge and understanding life in physical form and unphysical form, and how things in this reality that we live in work. So now in the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, you have this chapter or a verse, whatever you want to call it, where he speaks of the kingdom of shadows. Now it's a deep thing you have to grasp. We're lights inside of bodies, so spirits and bodies in our world consist of light, and the physical things is what's brought forth with the light. So you have to grasp. In our reality, it's light. You can see. It's physical things, etc., etc. So this is our existence. Now, when the kingdom of shadows, this is basically breaking down the existence opposite to ours, which would be darkness. I don't want to say opposite to ours, but it's just the existence. So it's darkness. The spirit would be darkness. And this is not a good place. This is basically, you could say, a pit for the forces and energies that do not belong in a life, like the waste. So the kingdom of shadows is basically the dark reality. There is no light. Spirits have no light. It's all darkness. Now, the children of shadows would be the beings that exist in this reality called the kingdom of shadows. Now, you have to understand, beings are nothing more than conscious. So you have to grasp, you're a being, whatever's a being, it's conscious thought. So when I say these beings are shadows of darkness, you just have to understand, if you can. I'm not talking another man, but his spirit is dark and yours is light. I'm talking conscious, past the body. This is knowledge that goes beyond the body, because you're more than the body, and the life has to do more than with just the body. So this knowledge is beyond that. But if you can kind of grasp what I'm saying, these dark beings that exist in this reality called the kingdom of shadows, they can only exist in our reality through blood and through men. So you have to grasp. Through the blood is how they can get into our existence to live through men's conscious. And it's a deep thing you have to grasp, because these in the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, it speaks of how a long time ago, before time was even kept, how these spirits were summoned up by other wise men from here who were lost, had a lot of knowledge. And you know, when you get knowledge, you get lost. You start tampering things you're not supposed to. So they basically summon these spirits up through the blood over intent. Now, like I said, that's just a phrase used today, but through the description of that phrase, this is how they summoned them up, not knowing what they were doing, and they caused a lot of effect in our reality. Not in a sense where you can physically see them causing the effects, but you can just see effects happening in the life. Bad casualties. It was because of this. And then these spirits were, cast into their space again of darkness, separate from men, which would be light beings. Trapped in their darkness, but light beings nonetheless. These beings are dark beings, trapped in darkness. So they're all darkness. So it's a deep thing, but When you start tampering with things like blood over intent and you just reach for any old knowledge that you hear, you never truly know what you're unleashing. That's why it's important to know a thing. You have to know one thing to know another thing. And it's a deep thing. But with the blood over intent, what you basically have is a brother in today's times basically pulled knowledge from the past and altered it into his description of however he wanted to be and presented it to the world. But y'all need to truly grasp, man, y'all are dealing with voodoo. And if you don't study voodoo, it's no need for you to be dealing with that. I don't deal with voodoo. Not to say I don't understand it, but I just don't practice it. Meaning I don't actively do any voodoo rituals, any of these things. Because this is all lost man stuff. All the religious things we believe in, all the ancient knowledge that y'all believe y'all have, this is all the lost. This is all lost, manly, physical things that really shouldn't be tampered with. All man needs to understand is that he is a light being, a spirit that is trapped within darkness, which is the body. And the whole reality we live in is the same way. Light's trapped in darkness. And all these different things y'all are being taught is old ancient dark knowledge. Dark knowledge just basically means dark science, dark magic. This all was the same thing in the past. So if a person in the past said that was dark magic, all magic was science. It was only magic if you didn't have knowledge on it. So anything you don't have knowledge on is magic to you. You figure if a child never seen backflips, when I do backflips for little kids, to them that's magic because they don't have knowledge on what it is I'm doing or that it can even be done. So to them it's like, how he do that? But you have to grasp, all magic boils down to just a knowledge, a science. So everything boils down to a science. And when men begin to dig into the dark sciences, which is basically the knowledge that can be harmful to others in the life and bring harm upon the life, this is where it's not good. You can use crack as an example. The knowledge of crack is not a good knowledge to know because we see what it did to the life and the living things in it. Crack popped up and oh my God, it caused so many effects in the life. And it's a deep thing that y'all have to grasp because crack and a lot of different things that we have casually in our life today is old ancient dark knowledge or dark magic or voodoo, and we live with it casually. And it's a deep thing you have to grasp. But having knowledge on making crack and then unleashing it on the world, this is not a good thing. So this will go into the dark knowledge basket, meaning it's a knowledge, but don't everybody need to have that because you see what happens. You have zombies now. We call them crackheads. But it's a deep thing you have to grasp. In most texts, they speak of blood worship and blood sacrifice. So blood over intent is nothing more than another avenue of blood sacrifice or blood worship. And all civilizations, even up to now, do it. We do it now when we eat. So you see how you go to the supermarket and you buy meat? Well, back in the day, they didn't eat meat. They only sacrificed meat to the gods. This is when they ate meat, or the high priest ate meat, things of this nature. Other than that, they didn't indulge in that. You know, when the blood and things was burnt up as an offering to the god or whatever. So you have to grasp, when we casually eat how we eat, back in the day, this would have been an offering to God. When you sit down and you eat your steak, this would have been an offering to God back in the day. Except you ain't giving it to God, you're just giving it to yourself. But however you look at it, the slaying of the animal and the cooking of it, which would have been burning it on the altar, is pretty much what we do every day in our regular life. We call it a stove. We don't use altars no more. We have stoves. And we get busy. And it's a deep thing you have to grasp. It's a lot of knowledge being passed around that is truly not grasped. And it's being altered and things is being added and people are running with it. And this is causing a lot of confusion and this is going to cause a lot of bad things to happen. Y'all have to grasp. When y'all do these little blood over intent things, man, y'all are summoning up things that y'all don't want. So you have to grasp every concept or every word or thing you have starts with the being or the existence. So death is a literal thing, and it started with a person, which is a being. And they experienced this and they became that. That's how they embodied that word. This is why words we have seem to be personified. But truly the personification or the person came first, and then the thing that we view as personified came after. So death will be personified as a person like Adam, Ra, or Legba. In voodoo, Legba is Ra. So death will be personified like that, as Ra, because he was chopped up and killed. So you have to grasp, Ra represents death. But this is how death became a thing. So you figure Cain killed Abel. Whoever was first to die, this is how that came into existence. So the word death being personified came from a person dying. And this is how that person became the personification of this thing. So when a person is summoning up things and they doing blood over intent, and let's say they like, oh, I want wealth. So people shed blood and they write it on the paper, I want wealth. And they put their blood print on the paper, I want wealth. They don't understand what they're summoning up, because this doesn't have to do with the physical. See, wealth has to do with greed. Any person who has wealth is greedy, no matter how you look at it. You have more than you need. So even if you give to charity, it doesn't matter because you still have more than you need. So whatever you gave don't matter. So it's a deep thing you have to grasp. Now, when you're dealing with wealth, let's say a person is trying to manifest wealth for themselves. You're manifesting what wealth truly is. So you're not manifesting money because money is not a real thing. Money just represents whatever you buy with it. And the resources and things on this earth is wealth. The life is the wealth. But that's already free to you. You just don't go get it. So whatever resources, trees and things you want, they out here. I mean, you can go cut down trees. It ain't like they got people guarding over trees. No one cares about. So it's a deep thing you have to grasp. Wealth is truly free. Gold and diamonds grow in dirt. Now, yeah, you got men guarding over that, but you get my point. Wealth is free. So when you're summoning up wealth, what you're summoning up is what wealth is to its core, which is greed and the negative forces that go with greed. So it's a deep thing you have to grasp. It's just like if you're summoning up, I want this person to die, and you do the blood over intent. You're summoning up the negative ways of death, meaning how a person died. So you're not summoning up the actual first person that died that was personified as death, but you're summoning up the negative acts and energies that brought forth the death. And it's a deep thing you have to grasp, because people play around with this stuff and they try to manifest things, and then they don't understand why they ain't nothing manifested. And it did. The energies and forces that men don't see is what's being manifested into this physical. And it's a deep thing y'all have to grasp. You have to understand Knowledge all boils down to understanding. People can know and hear a lot, but the understanding is just not there. And it's a deep thing y'all have to grasp. But hopefully, I brought y'all a little bit of understanding on this blood over intent thing. Whoever brought this knowledge forth, they pretty much just pulled a bunch of stuff together and added it together that don't go together. Like Mandela effect does not go with this, but I'm lost on all this stuff. It's all absurd. It all holds little truths, but the way it's being exploited is absurd to me. But that's why I use the emerald tablets to show you that this blood over intent thing is in all ancient knowledge. Even in the Bible, when they sacrificing lambs up to God and all that, this is the blood that's being offered. This is why they killing the lamb. So you have to grasp. They're not giving the lamb alive. It's murder. Sacrifice of the blood. Blood offering. Blood over intent, as the person of today would call it. But it's in all ancient texts, religious beliefs, knowledge, whatever. It's everywhere. And it's a deep thing y'all have to grasp, man. Y'all need to take a little more heed to the things that y'all take in. And understand where you are. You in hell, so everything gonna be told to you. And it's contorted. And it's I forgot the word. I done got a blank. But it's gonna be told to you in a exploited kind of way. And it's a deep thing y'all have to grasp. The story's going to be polluted down. However y'all learn or whatever y'all know, it's going to be polluted down and altered for negativity purposes and for evil. And it's a deep thing you have to grasp of the existence we're in. And just be careful. That's all I can tell y'all. It's your main man, Solace.